Hi, I'm Chris, and welcome to this video on the role of design in data visualization. This relates to Learning Objective 9 of the Digital Finance Certificate. Let's have a look at our example, which is a dashboard for the City of London. I want you to think about what's the purpose of this dashboard? Who's the audience for this dashboard? And of course, can the information that's on the screen be easily digested? Now, I realize it's not easy to read all of the smaller font, but the point is here, you've got a variety of measures, colors, the way it's been laid out, and that should give you an indication of whether you think this is going to work well or not. I'm blowing up a few here just to drill in because I don't think it's probably the best dashboard that they could produce for information about London. Weather stations, they want to give us weather, fine. They've got 3 different areas, but then they use a variety of colors, different greens, browns, blues, grays, not quite sure why. Tube line status, so here transport, public transport of London, the underground. All of these colors, I believe, represent different tube lines, but they are distracting in the sense of what's the information I want to know. It's about whether they're running on time or not. Bike sharing, fair enough. Everything's green, so I'm guessing everything's good. Again, London buses is fine, and underneath is the train's total amount. Yeah, that's okay. Then it jumps a little bit. We've got news, hashtags, a happiness index, electricity, which is red, so I assume pretty bad. Maybe the grid's about to explode, and random traffic cameras, which is my absolute favorite. So a little bit of a quick recap about theory. We know we have exploratory and explanatory analysis in terms of design principles for good data visualization. Just looking at explanatory, we can consider storytelling, context, choice of display, and cognitive principles. With storytelling, think about it in terms of cause and effect. Taking the person that's reading the data visualization on a journey so that they understand the outcomes that you're trying to get to in terms of the data interpretation on the page. In terms of context, 2 things to consider. One is the story telling the right context? 1 picture here, 3 different stories that you can see. And also, who is the audience? Because that's how you decide things like which bits of data should stay on the page and which bits of data are not required. Choice of display, a whole range of practical tools here, don't we? From line graphs to pie charts to Paretos to one of my favorites, area comparison charts. Why do I love it? Because it does one thing very quickly but effectively, and that's order of magnitude. We can see here, this is about the billions of dollars spent on different things around the globe. Here are all the individual Iraq wars up to 2007. And here is the total, right? And what it's showing is an order of magnitude is how much bigger that is. We can see here that the US defense budget's not that much bigger than Walmart revenues. The importance here by using colors to categorize and sizes, it gives us the user a quick understanding of a particular bit of information that the designer of the report wants them to see. And of course, there are the Gestalt principles, right, from Gestalt psychology. That's related to how our brain sees things, how we use proximity, similarity, closure, how we use continuity in order to draw information out from a visual representation. So we'll try to apply this quickly in our example of the London City dashboard. I'm now calling it London Weather and Transport. I want to bring people's attention to metrics, but I'm already making a bit of a decision about who those people are, my audience. In terms of how I'm trying to use cognitive principles, I'm not able to use them all here, but if we look at something like the weather over here, okay, using proximity can be about taking out all of these colors and the gray and enabling people to see it just through using a few lines to separate, reducing the number of categories, keeping it simple. In the tube line status, again, using similarity we can see that, well, which ones are not running well? District and the WC line. And we've got 4 here in amber that are perhaps behind, right? And again, also proximity, creating more white space. With the bike sharing again, if the arrow's going up and it's red, it means that we don't like the trend of 4.3%. It was higher than what it was earlier. If it's going up and it's green, bikes available, that's good. There's more bikes available, right? I kept in the line chart, take it or leave it. This one's debatable. Do we really need traffic cameras? Maybe. There's only 2. How does that help me as a Londoner if I'm going to drive to work when there's a whole range of places I could be coming from? I changed it to Monday's traffic cameras, but I would think that this actually is not as useful as something else that we could put in there. Right? Because the whole point here is we're trying to tell a story. And it leaves us a quarter of this dashboard here. What would you put in there? It's a difficult one. Going back to what we were working with up here, did not see things like electricity usage or, to be honest, Twitter trends with hashtags as being that useful. But other areas that you perhaps could concentrate on might include people want an understanding of the stories of the day. They want an understanding of what's happening in the stock market. And again, this one's a little bit loose, but an understanding of the happiness index for London on that day. The point here is to consider how we use storytelling, how we use context, cognitive principles in order to make data easier to absorb, to digest, to draw insights out from. The use of Gestalt principles helps the brain quickly grab bits of information that it needs in order for us to make better decisions. So we use those design tools to improve the way data is visualized.